Hi, Southwest ninth graders and families. Welcome to Curriculum Night 2020. My name is Andrea Gelle. I am the geography teacher on Team Isles this year. A little bit about me. I'm a proud graduate of St. Olaf College, 2007, Umiaya, and graduated with degrees in psychology and social studies education. So that's where I got my teaching license. I followed up a few years later and picked up an MED at the University of Minnesota. So I've been teaching since I graduated, 14 years this year. It's my sixth year at Southwest. In addition to teaching, I'm also the boys and girls cross country coach as well as the track coach in the spring. I love all sorts of recreational activities. You'll find me out running and hiking and kayaking, snowshoeing in the winter all over Minneapolis. Um, I love traveling. I love exploring new places. I like to cook. In the pandemic, I've really been trying to make an effort to support local restaurants. Um, I love coffee and avoiding screens whenever possible. I've learned that this week. So, what is human geography? Human geography is really the study of how humans interact with the earth. So, we look at patterns and processes of a range of topics, but these are the three questions that we really focus on. What is where? Why is it there? And why should we care? So, unlike a lot of social studies classes that look at things from a historical perspective, human geographers look at things from a spatial perspective. So, our units of study are as follows. We start off with a thinking geographically unit. So, that's really where we teach students how to think like a geographer, get into that spatial lens, because oftentimes they come in with that kind of historical, chronological lens. And then we have different themes that we look at throughout the year. And again, this follows this AP curriculum, the scope and sequence. So this is a class website. You've probably found it by now. Think of this as big picture stuff for both students and for families. This is where you'll see my contact information. Email is preferred. I do have a Google Voice number if you want to talk on the phone or if you want to text. That's available. That's an option. Course information, my syllabus is also on there. There are some useful links. If you look at my Bitmoji classroom on the homepage, there are links to all sorts of things that we'll use throughout the year, from our online textbook to our GIS system that we use, to things like Quizlet and Flipgrid that we use as education technology devices. You'll find big picture things like unit calendars, all of our project rubrics, and any archived lessons that we have. That's where those will be stored. Eventually, there will also be information about the AP exam for those students and families that are interested, but that's a later thing. Google Classroom, unlike the website, this is going to be for daily things. This is really catered more towards students. It's where students are going to log in every day. They will log into a live meeting. This is our synchronous learning. This is how I will take attendance. And it's also a place for the assignments. Students will get access to the assignments and they'll turn in assignments through Google Classroom. So a typical class, at least this is what I'm planning as of now. Thank you in advance for your flexibility. But we will plan to start with a synchronous or a live meeting. This is some sort of warm welcome where we're engaging students and welcoming students into the environment, and this is where attendance will be taken. We'll talk about what the plan is for the day. We'll do some sort of warm-up journal or warm-up activity, and then the bulk of the class period will be spent on some sort of lesson. It might be a breakout group where they're engaging with other classmates, discussing a prompt, working on a project. It might mean that they are doing something independently, like reading or writing. It might be a documentary that they're watching. It might be a lecture video that I put together. But they are going to be engaging in some sort of academic lesson. And then we'll always close either synchronously or asynchronously with some sort of exit slip or a share out. Assessment is going to be two different categories. So formative assessment will be a quarter of their overall grade. This is daily assignments participation. The bulk of what I assess, the bulk of what's going to go into their grades would be a summative assessment. So these are projects and papers. Typically, tests would be in that category as well. But given the nature of distance learning, we're really going to be focusing more on projects this year than tests. This is an IB class. We're an IB school, and so the individuals and societies MYP criteria are the 4 that are listed here: knowing and understanding, investigating, communicating, and thinking critically. There's more detail on that in my syllabus as well, if you're not familiar with these. Grading in an IB school is also a little bit different. The IB grade is a scale from 1 to 8, and the corresponding letter grade is there on the left. So the 7s and 8s are the A range, 5s and 6s are the B range, 3s and 4s the C, and then credit would be anything where a student is averaging or gets a majority of 2s, and then the no credit would be 1s. So late work and redos. I think it's in students' best interest to do their best to turn in work on time. Of course, things are going to come up, and of course, teachers are going to be giving a lot of grace this year. But I do think it's in students' best interest to do what they can when they can. And if it means turning in partial work for formative daily assignments and participation, I would rather see the partial work than no work at all, because this is really how you are part of a community. This is how you're engaging on a regular basis, how you're learning and growing, and how I as a teacher can give students feedback. Summative assessments are the big things, the projects, the papers. That's something that is done to kind of as a capstone for each unit. And therefore, the due date in my mind isn't as strict. And I do believe in revision. I believe in a student's opportunity to grow as a learner after they've received some feedback and to improve their grade if they wish. These are a list of kind of some basic distance learning expectations that we have for our Team IELTS students. Your other teachers on team will probably have something very similar to this as well. I think the big difference is that students are going to be asked to be really self-disciplined this year. I think that's the biggest change. And so my request for you as family members is to help your student in that process. It might be encouraging them to get onto a new schedule. It's been, probably a long time since they've been on a really routine schedule. So helping them, encouraging them. We as teachers are going to do our best to limit screen time. I'm going to try and get them out and engaging in our neighborhoods and our communities as much as possible. But really doing the work during the day so that homework doesn't have to be done after the school hours. If something comes up, if it's not working, please communicate. Please encourage your student to advocate for themselves. We are here, we're flexible. So that's it for me right now. And again, if you have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.